Okay, so we're talking about this periodic test requirements. So ARPA's rule number 20. Then each vessel shall be located with respect to the nearest building or a group of the buildings in line with the adjoining property, which may be built on or respect to the other vessels and the facilities in accordance with the distance specified in table 1 to 7. So it is talking about the distance between vessel to vessel and vessels to the building. When I talk about the vessel, it is nothing but above ground or within the ground, in the sense underground or above ground, where we have to maintain the certain distances. We'll see that tables now. As one table we'll see as an example. So if you see this table here, so these are the capacities of the vessel and also the minimum distance from the building group of buildings or line of adjoining property or the minimum distance between the vessels. So one is from the building, how many meters it should be, vessel should be positioned, or from a between the vessel, how many meters we have to maintain the distance. So if you see the capacity of not above 2000 liters, so it should be 5 meters away from the buildings, or if you are keeping any multiple vessels, it should be 1 meter between the each vessel. If it is 200, 2000, but not above 10,000, 10 meters from the building, 1 meter from between the vessels. Okay, if it is 10,000 to 20,000, 15 meters and 5 meters. Same way, we'll have the difference safety distances for the different capacities. So here we have non-flammable, non-toxic. Here we have flammable gases. Okay, and here we have other gases. Okay, so these are the various requirements. Then LPG bottling plants with a storage between 100 to 300 metric tons above ground or up to 450 metric tons mounted or combined, and a bottling up to 50 metric tons per hour shift must follow 160 OISD 169 guidelines. So it is about the LPG bottling point requirement. Okay. So this is the requirement. The distance specified above relaxed by the chief control in the case of where his opinion the additional safety measures have been provided. In the bottling plants, they can keep or maintain such distances if they take any exception from the chief controller. Okay. Okay. Then the next requirement, the area within the safety distance of the installation of the pressure vessels shall be kept free from ignitable materials. So this is the one of the requirement. Wherever we have a storage, we have to keep that any combustible materials which are away from these storage of the vessels. Okay. Also a permanent notice with a letter at least 5 centimeters in height of prohibiting smoking, and also naked lights shall be fixed to the fence surrounding the area where a flammable or toxic gases are stored. So here they clearly mentioned at least 5 centimeters in height prohibiting smoking and naked lights. So in the sense, we have to keep a signboard at 5 centimeters letter size. When you say smoking prohibited, so the letters height should be minimum of 5 centimeters, and also naked flames. So they should not create or produce any flames near the storage of any flammable or oxidizing gases. Then flammable gas vessels and liquid pipelines must be earthed with a ground resistance below 1 ohm. And also gas delivery vehicles must be bonded to storage units before hose connection. So this requirement is for to prevent the static generation. And below 1 ohm, so it makes the low resistance, so that whatever the static which is generated, it can be absorbed or discharged immediately. Then the next requirement is adequate safety device as specified in the rule shall be used for protecting the vessels used for the storage of flammable compressed gases against the fire hazards. So here we have to provide the required safety devices as per the rule. Now we'll see the rule number 26. What are the safety precautions which they are suggesting? With respect to fire protection, they are suggesting for adequate supply of water. Okay. Then hydrant systems where it is provided shall be readily accessible at all times, so spaced as to provide for the protection of the all the vessels. So it will be accessible to the all times. Then sufficient length of fire hose shall be provided and shall be readily available nozzles, and also the outlet of each hose line shall be equipped with a combination jet and also fog nozzles. So we should also have combination of jet and fog. So where basically we have jet nozzles and also fog nozzles, there are multi-purpose nozzles where you can use for the jet purpose and also for the fog generation. And also mobile equipment and fixed monitors or fixed spray systems shall be designed to discharge water at a rate sufficient to maintain an adequate film of water over the surface of the vessel and support under fire conditions. So mobile or fixed monitors or fixed spray systems like sprinklers or any other equipments where we can able to create a fixed spray systems under the fire condition. Then consideration shall be given to the provisions of mobile and fixed water spray systems, giving suitable and effective precautions for the vehicle loading and unloading areas. It is also required that these fixed spray systems has to be installed at the loading unloading area also, not only storage area. In the loading unloading area also, we should have this sprinkler systems. When it is fixed spray, the best example we can consider as sprinkler systems. And also at least 2 dry chemical powder type of fire extinguishers of 9 kg capacity, each shall be installed at each point of access to the installations. Okay. Then LPG, a liquid petroleum gas dispensing station for the fueling motor vehicles. So here also they should have underground or earth covered mounted liquefied petroleum gas stations, 2-member 7 kilo dry chemical powder fire extinguishers, like in the petrol pumps where you would have seen this requirement. In the dispensing stations having above ground LPG petroleum gas storage vessels hydrants with minimum water pressure of 7 kilogram per centimeter square. So here they should maintain the pressure of hydrant water at least 7 kilo. It is a minimum. Okay, these are the adequate safety precautions to be provided under this section. Then careful examine every vehicle at the installation before transfer of gas to ensure that it complies with the requirements of these rules. When you say vehicle, it is nothing but the tanker vehicle where we used to transport the gas. It has to be verified whether it is meeting the requirements. And dispenser of auto LPG, LNG, and also hydrogen must be designed, tested, maintained, and approved as per applicable schedules and international standards. So dispensers in the sense petrol pumps, they have to be designed, tested, and maintained as per these standards. Now, auto LPG, auto LNG, liquefied hydrogen gas, and also compressed hydrogen gas must not be filled into any fuel tank, a motor vehicle, while the engine is in running condition. So it is also basic requirement. When any vehicle or a commercial vehicle or a passenger vehicle, if you are filling this gas or LNG or CNG, the engine should be in off condition. And dispensing of LPG, auto LPG, and LH2, CNG, etc., the vehicle fuel tanks must not be carried out during unloading of these fuels from mobile pressure vessels at dispensing stations. So during the unloading of these pressure vessels, we should not fill during the unloading of the fuel into the dispensing stations. All electrical portable hand lamps and other instrumentation shall be of type approved by the chief control. When you say type, it is nothing but flame proof electrical fittings as we seen in IS 108, which is also an approved type of fittings. Also, the vaporizers for flammable, toxic, and corrosive gases shall be of a type approved by the chief controller. Also, a certificate of safety signed by a competent person, TPA, shall be furnished to a licensing authority before any vessel is used for storage of any compressed gas. It is simple that a safety certificate which is signed by the competent person, TPE, it has to be given to the licensing authority. For example, you will fix vessels in your facility. During the first installation, the company who is provided that vessels, they themselves will give the TPA certificate. So you are submitting to the authority before storage of any gas. And every vehicle should take approval for the transport of compressed gas by chief controller and pay scrutiny fee under clause B of schedule 1 to the authority. So every vehicle, which means the vehicles which they use for the transportation of these gases, they should get the authorization. And pressure vessels used for transport of cryogenic hydrogen must comply with the relevant provisions of the standards and any other standards code accepted by the controller. So here pressure was used for the hydrogens, which is also must meet these standards and also any other standards which are agreed or accepted by the control. No other vessels which are used with any other standards which are not acceptable. And the vessel shall be manufactured in accordance with the type of the standards or code specified under rule number 13 and fitted with fittings approved by the chief controller. So whatever the vessels which they have made or the design, they have to meet the standards or codes under the rule number 13. I will show rule number 13 again. So some of the codes and numbers we have to by heart so that we can able to write one point. All the pressure vessels and also fittings has to be made as per this code. So see here, these are the codes. EN with the IS code, we have 2825 and ASME section 3, division 1 and also division 2, PD 5500. European standards, which is 13458 and 13530 and 82000. These are the codes, okay, and standards which they use for manufacturing of these vessels. Okay. Also, every person intending to fill any vessel or transport any vessel filling with any compressed gas shall be taken approval from the chief controller. So this is the license requirement. Whoever wants to fill the vessels and also transport of these vessels, which is filled of the compressed gas, they have to get the license. And every person intending to manufacture a vessel and fitting including vaporizer shall take a prior approval from the chief controls. For them also, they need to have a license. So one is manufacturing of these vessels like that containers and also their fittings, including vaporizer. Vaporizer is nothing but those are the heaters. So the some of the gases we have to heat up to transport from the storage to the usage area. For example, the storage tank or the vessel we kept at the end of the site at one corner of the site. From there, I have to supply this gas to the multiple areas where we need a vaporizer so that we can heat up the gas so that indirectly it can change that form from liquid to gases. Then it can be easily transportable, or we can say easily transferred. And select drivers carefully and appropriate training in driving and safe handling of equipment and also compressed gas carried in the vehicle shall be given. So we have to choose the drivers in a careful manner and we have to provide the appropriate training in driving and safe handling of equipment and the compressed gas carried out in the vehicle. And also, every vehicle shall be constantly attended by at least one person who is familiar with the rules in this chapter. So, at what conditions? While loading and unloading of the vessel, we have to allow one person who is having the knowledge on those operations. We'll see at 42.4. Okay, 42. What are the various conditions where we have to the supervision should be there. Forty-two point four. So this is the requirement. So every vehicle shall be constantly attended to by at least one person who is familiar with these rules in this chapter. One is provided that nothing in the subrule shall be applied to the vehicle which are left in place previously approved for the purpose of chief controller or controller authorized by him. Okay. Okay. So these are the requirements. Money. Okay. A certificate of safety signed by the competent person TPI shall be furnished to the licensing authority before any vehicle is used for the transportation of any compressed gas. Even this is also a requirement. A competent person TPI shall be furnished to the licensing authority before the vehicle is filled for the transportation. Okay. Any person should be take license for his fabrication shop or pressure vessel, vaporizer or fittings under the rule 4.2 along with the particulars specified in appendix 1 or ISO certification and scrutiny fee. So here it is about the requirement of fabrication shops. Okay. So if you're taking a license for the fabrication shops. So we have to take the license from the chief controller. Okay. And the license shall ensure that every vehicle is roadworthy and is fit in condition to fill, transport, and discharge its load safely. So it is about the fitness certificate of the vehicle. So the vehicle has to be fit for the carrying and the delivery of the gas which we are sending or transporting from one place to other place. And every person intending to import vessels shall take approval from chief controller. An application for such approval shall be made in form AS3 accompanied with specified documents and features. So import of vessels. So if you're importing any vessels which are manufactured out of India, so for that also we have to take the approvals or license for the vessels. Okay. Any questions as of now? Okay. Fine. So again, another license requirement. Every person intending to store any compressed gas in any vessel shall take license from the concerned authority, submit application in form AS1, accompanied with prescribed plans, scrutiny fee as specified in clause B and schedule 1 for authorization. If at all anybody wants to have a storage of license, for example, organizations where they need a LPG or CNG storage in their premises for their process. Okay. An applicant should take NOC for the district authority for storage of flammable, toxic, or corrosive compressed gases in pressure vessel accompanied with 2 copies of site plans. So here we have to take the NOC from the district authority for the storage of any flammable, toxic, or corrosive compressed gas in a pressure vessels with 2 copies of site plan. This is a site plan, your building plan or area plan or structural plan. So where you are storing, where is the location of these vessels, to give such plans to get the license copy. And also every person intending to transport any compressed gas in any vessel by a vehicle shall obtain a license from chief controller or controller authorized by him. An application for such authorization shall be made in form AS2. So whoever wants to intended to transport. So previously we have seen whoever wants to store the compressed gas, that is for AS1. When you talk about the transportation of this compressed gas in any vessel by a vehicle shall obtain license in form AS2. For the storage, we need form AS1. For the transportation of the gases using the vehicle like mobile vehicles or tankers, it is form AS2. And no person shall deliver or dispatch any compressed gas filled in a vessel to any person other than the authorized holder of the storage or to the port authority or any railway administrator. So until unless they are not having any storage license, we are not supposed to deliver or dispatch any gas. Okay. In an industry applies for a license in form LS1A compressed gas and LS1B auto LPG, 1C for auto LNG and LS1D for LH2. The application must be submitted in form AS1 as per the relevant gas storage and dispensing rules. So it is for the petrol pumps where they take the different licenses, but the common form is AS1 because all these are using for the storage and dispensing purposes. Any person intending to transport a compressed gas in a pressure vessel mounted on a vehicle must apply in Form AS2 for a license in Form LS2, that is 51. It is intending to transport any compressed gas in pressure vessel mounted on a vehicle must be apply AS2 with a Form LS2. Okay, for a transport. So previously Form AS2 for the transportation of vehicle, any pressurized gas, compressed gas, there you'll give license, you'll get license in Form LS2. You have to give application in Form AS2, you will get a license in Form LS2. Okay. Any person seeking to import a pressure vessel must apply Form AS3 and obtain prior permissions before importation. So for storage AS1, for transportation AS2, for importing from the other countries where you do AS3. Obtain permission to transport tank container filled or intended to be filled with the compressed gas within the Indian territory from chief controller or controller authorized by him. An application for such authorization shall be made in Form AS4. Transportation of tank container filled or intended to be filled with a compressed gas within Indian territory. So there you have to take authorization by the chief controller using Form AS4. Okay. Then a license granted or renewed under these forms for the storage of compressed gas in a pressure vessel subjected to a maximum 10 years and remain in force until the 30th day of September for the year up to which the same is granted or renewed. So it will be renewed for a maximum of 10 years. It will be valid in that year, 30th of day of September. Okay. And a license in Form LS2 for transport of compressed gas in pressure vessel by a vehicle shall be granted, renewed subject to maximum of 10 years, taken from the date of grant of the license. It's basically, it is will be transferred or renewed for a minimum of 10 years from the date of the license. Okay. And the license shall obtain approval from chief controller or controller authorized by him for alterations in the licensed premises, subject prescribed documents and scrutiny fee as specified in Schedule 1B. Okay, it is about the chief controller or controller authorized by the license authority with a scrutiny fee. So here we have to get the approval with along with the documents to get a renewal for such license approvals or renewals. Any license granted under these rules may be amended by the chief controller or controller authorized by him, provided the license submits and also prescribed information. So amendment in the sense corrections or changes, any name changes or any alterations, modifications, expansion happens or any further storage happens. So you can do a amendments with a prescribed information. The license shall be obtained approval from the chief controller authorized by him to transfer the license granted under these rules. An application of such approval shall be made in Form AS1, AS2 accompanied with specified documents and scrutiny fee. So in the case of transfer of license from one name to other name, so here you have to submit Form AS1 or AS2, depends on the your existing license. And the licensee, which means the owner, shall renew the license granted under Form LSA1 and other these rules. An application for such approval shall be made in Form AS1 or AS2 as the case may be, accompanied with the specific documents and the fees. Depends on the type of the license. Either it is a storage license or transportation license. They can do a renewal granted under the sub licenses. The holder of the license shall be given an opportunity of begin heard before refusing the grant, amend, transfer, or renewal of license. It is the right of a license holder. He can given an opportunity before giving any notices or any refusing of renewals or refusing of granting any licenses or transfer or any approvals or renewals. It can be explained. So what is the reason for that refusal? So it is a right of the owner of the license holder before any refusal of such applications. Then the licensing authority can be suspended or cancel the license granted under these rules in the case of any contravention of the rules of the license. So in the case of the license can be cancelled at any time if in case if you are not meeting the requirements of these rules or if you are violating any rules under these requirements, it will be cancelled. Okay. Then again, an aggrieved person has the right to be heard before suspension or cancellation of fee. A license of loose legal right to be licensed premises for storing of compressed gases, then the license will be automatically cancelled. The license must maintain a valid possession in remain compliant. So in the case of any expiry of license, it will not be renewed. So you should maintain the valid license or possession of the license. Okay, so it will become automatically cancelled. So if he's having any legal rights on those sites also, it will be deemed to be cancelled automatically. Okay. So the next license requirement, the person carrying out any business shall make an application for a new license in his own name or for the unexpired portion of the original license in respect of the year in which the license dies or becomes insolvent or mentally incapable of disablement. Okay, for a application of new license in the case of any existing applicant dies or he is not mentally fit, we can go for new license on his name or his legal heirs, which means their son or any blood relation people. Okay, so I'm stopping here. We have another 26 seconds. We can continue in the next class. So we were at the end of the slide. So we have last slide. After this, we can start with the Public Liability Insurance Act. Okay.